Actually, there is a couple of things I can do. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, thank you guys for being here so much. Guyver, thank you, Uncle Gary. Thank you, Mojo and Kiki, for being here. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Get seated. Get settled in. We're about to get things started. My guest tonight is cutting a path. He's cutting a path through Tulsa comedy. 1 minute he's not there, then he's everywhere. And now you get to talk to him. My guest tonight's none other than Brian Bizjack, and that interview begins in 3, 2, and 1. Welcome back. It's Public Access Live time, and I got Brian Bizjack with me. How you guys been? Good. Let's talk to him now. Brian, it's a pleasure to finally get to talk to you, actually, on the show.
Well, thanks for having me in.
And like I said, like 1 minute, and then the next thing you know. And last night, this is an excellent opportunity because you just had an insult attack last night. Mm-hmm. How long are you into it now?
That was the 14th version of the show. So we started January 2019, and we've just done them every month since then.
Mm-hmm. And now from 14 months ago till last night. Mm-hmm. What's your two-part question? Number one, what is your feeling about how the community, as far as the audience is concerned, is growing? And number two, how is the comedy community growing to the point where you're getting more and more participation from them? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, from an audience standpoint, the show has been growing, especially since last November. We got a new space with inside Renaissance Brewery. So previously, if you went to the show in 2019, the beginning part of it, we were in the tank room, kind of in the very back, like a big kind of like warehousey type area.
Where they make the beer?
Yeah, where they actually make the beer.
Okay.
Back there. So there was like ventilation fans and stuff that would come on sometimes. It'd be kind of loud. I mean, we did have some really fun shows back there and a lot of people could fit back there, which was cool.
Did you originally want to do a roast battle, or did you just want to put on a comedy show for? Are you connected in some way with Renaissance?
No.
Okay.
No. So I wanted to do some sort of like roast battle style show because I'd always enjoyed watching the Comedy Central roasts and then Comedy Central roast battle, and then I noticed that there were sometimes there would be like a roast battle style show here in Tulsa, but it was just like a one-time thing, and they didn't seem to happen very often. So I wanted to have like a consistent one where it could go on and we could keep stats and kind of make it like a monthly thing that's a lot of fun. And then I also wanted to make it open to like basically anybody who wants to roast on it.
You guys keep records?
I have records of the whole thing. Yeah.
Like win-loss?
Yeah, I have a win-loss. Everyone's got a win-loss record.
Is that your comedy medium of choice?
Not really. I mean, I really enjoy doing just traditional stand-up as well. So I do.
Where's your like what made you? Were you the hey, Bizjack, hey, smartass, you should be a comedian. So you did? Or were you a clown? Were you a catalyst? Where did this theater background?
No theater background. No. I mean, thinking back to where
That was 4 misses in a row. Do you see how many things I threw at him? And he's like, no. It's like dodging. Okay, go on.
No, from the insult part of it, I think that goes back. If I could think of like a time when that began, it was when I switched schools. I went K through 5 at Union Public Schools.
Okay.
And then starting in 6th grade, my parents thought it'd be a good idea for me to start going to Montecasino, which is a private school.
Yeah.
And so a lot of those kids at Montecasino, they had been together since like preschool. So I'm getting thrown into a group of middle school boys as just a random kid from South Tulsa. They all pretty much lived in Midtown, have been together since they were like preschoolers, so real tight units. So they immediately start kind of trying to like test me a little bit, trying to like make fun of me and see how I react to it. Maybe give me a little bit of bullying and see how that goes. So the way I kind of got back at that is they would say something to me and I would say something back to them, and they'd be kind of like, oh, okay. And it was better if it was funny it was best if it was funnier rather than just mean, because they might say something kind of mean to me, I'd say something kind of mean back, but was also funny, and so that's how I kind of dealt with that kind of hazing process.
If you say something super mean, you might be able to get everyone to laugh at that person, but if you see something that's mean that they don't understand, then you get to laugh at it.
Mm-hmm.
You have to hit them with that clever angle.
Yeah, my favorite part is watching some of the insult attacks when I insult somebody and then the person I insulted laughs at it. So that's what we want to have happen. People who can laugh, that the insult is so funny, it's funnier than it's mean.
You've had a year's worth of experiences now. Is there anyone that's come along that like brings a tear to your eye? You're kind of like, I remember when they couldn't even insult, and now look at them.
A lot of people do that. I
Really?
mean,
are people blossoming into their cruelty?
I'd say so. Yeah. I'd say there are some people who've come on and just done it like 1 month or just done it 2 months and kind of fallen off. But
Can
then,
you kind of tell though when you see or when you hear someone's work and you're like, okay, they're just going to go for the person's appearance. They're not going to try to dig on this person at all, and you're kind of, Or do you like the ones that really are like where they go after like a childhood memory that may or may not have happened, just complete hyperbole? I mean, what do you like to dabble in? What's your magic of choice?
When I roast somebody an insult attack, if I don't know them already, I'll try to I'll start stalking them on social media and really dig up stuff and see if I can find, because they put it out there and they can't get mad at me if I go find it if they put it out there.
Facebook is PR for dummies.
Yeah,
it's basically the image you want the world to see. So it's basically
yeah. So I'll go back through there a little bit and kind of see what they've been up to, see what kind of image they like to put out on social media, and I'll ask them about what they're up to, what they do for a living if I need to.
Is there an online scoreboard? Uncle Gary says I'm 3-1.
He might. I can double check that.
We have live stat checking right now.
See.
This is better than the president's speech. Nobody was live. Hey, by the way, this has nothing to do with the president. I don't know why that tied in, but could you tell a difference between the way people insult in school when you were at Union and when you came to Cassia? Is it like a different class of insult?
Oh, well, there wasn't really all that much insulting back when I was at Union, and then when I started going to Montecasino, it was definitely different, because you're older, you're more mature, you're middle school. It was so there wasn't. Yeah, it was completely kind of different.
I
was
was
a very
always
different
wondering,
situation.
is there really that stereotypical Hollywood version of the mean rich kid? Were they floating around Cassia? Kind of the oh, I think I saw you at my house last week. Your mother was cleaning it. Like one of those like real are there real life examples of that?
There.
And you don't have to mention names.
Yeah, I'm definitely not going to name names.
But we appreciate your candor if you want to.
No, you'll find kids like that at any school, even public schools. There are kids who think they're better than everyone else, and there are really wealthy kids who go to public schools. Like Jinx is a really wealthy district. So, there were some kids like that whose parents probably acted like that, and it kind of filtered down to the kids, unfortunately. But I typically wasn't really friends with those kids.
Do you have a heart for Tulsa?
A heart for Tulsa?
Yeah, as being this is your town.
Yeah, well, I grew up here, and then in high school, I was ready to leave. So I left Tulsa in 2003 and didn't come back until 2017.
Oh,
I was gone for a while.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where were you?
I went to college.
You been?
Yeah, I was gone for a while, so because I was ready to get out. I was ready to go see new stuff. I grew up. I came back occasionally.
Okay, it was my fault. I didn't connect. Okay, so college.
Yeah, so I went to University of Kansas.
Lawrence?
Lawrence. So I was living in Lawrence for 4 years. Then Kansas City for 3 years. Then I went to school at Thunderbird School of Global Management out in Arizona, Phoenix, Arizona, for Masters of Business Administration. So I lived in Phoenix for about 2 years. There was a summer in Denver. I lived in Washington, D.C. for a summer after college.
So you came back here to do what?
I'll work. My family lives here.
Okay.
So I work with my dad and my brother. And most of my family lives here.
I'm trying to get everybody to move here. Because basically what happened was when I got out of high school, I just celebrated my 30th last weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And when I got out of high school, what I thought was going to happen was everybody I went to school with said, I'm leaving this town, I'm going to go out and conquer the world. And I thought, after all these jerks leave, this might be a nice town. So I stayed. And then when I was at my reunion, I'm like, so what you guys been doing? And they're like, we've been here. And I'm like, really?
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh. So I'm trying to get more people to move here just to kind of put distance between me and anyone else that lives here that I don't want to see, except maybe once every 30 years. So I tell everybody about the cost of living here. They don't believe it.
Mm.
Your experience living abroad, abroad, across the United States. But, honestly, gas, milk, housing, comparatively, we're kind of top of the heap for keeping money in your pocket, yeah?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, cost of living for sure. It
Like,
doesn't really get any lower.
what was your living expenses in Washington, for example?
Oh, well, that was interesting because I lived in a hotel. I was working for a leadership conference for high school students.
Okay.
So I lived in a hotel that summer where we did all the conference stuff. So cost of living was really good for me. I got free housing.
You have a background in public speaking?
No. I studied journalism at University of Kansas, but not like broadcast or anything like that.
I have nothing.
Keep trying to guess stuff?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's kind of like, well, I don't know anything about you, so I'm just kind of like, well, how did he find his way here? Like, what's the tie-in? How does he get to comedy? It's like there's no back. It's almost like my story where it was like impulsive one day. I was like, I'd really like to do stand-up, and people were like, really?
Mm.
Was it a shock for your family? Or anything? Were there any hints that this was the direction that you wanted to take your life?
They couldn't have been too surprised because I've always been interested in going to see stand-up shows and watching it. And
So you're a huge fan.
Oh yeah, and we went to some as a family. Like when I was in high school, we went to see Sinbad at the TU Rental Center once.
I remember that.
This was a while back. I went to that one, and then when I was in high school, I got to go see Dane Cook at TU.
So were those is there anyone you emulate when you get on stage? Is there anyone that you like that you kind of trace? Do you know what I mean by tracing?
Yeah, well, try and, like an inspiration or...
Yeah,
sort of. I try and just be me and just try and be as authentic. No, I didn't take any classes. I just started going to open mics and sucking real bad, which is, that's one way to do it.
No, your timing's awesome. I saw you at Heirlooms. I thought you'd been doing this. You were polished.
Well, I've been doing it for, that was almost the end of year 2. So I've been doing it 2 years, I would say. 2018 was my first year, 2019 was my second year. So we're in...
I'm not going to be hateful about how good he is at that stage of the game.
Well, I would go once a week, which is, you really probably got to go more than once a week if you're really serious. But once a week is probably the minimum that a person should do.
Do you devote a lot of time to it? Do you put do you actually schedule time to write?
No, I don't schedule time to write. I just write when I can. I try to write every day. It doesn't always happen.
Are you a people watcher? Do you draw inspiration from events that you see, or is it more family or old memories that you're kind of turning into funny stories? Or
it's kind of just a mixture of just whatever. Is
there anything you stay away from?
Yeah, I don't do political jokes, and I try not to be when I first started doing stand-up comedy, I wanted to do really edgy jokes, and I thought people would like that. Mm-hmm. And then that didn't really work out too much. Some of the jokes some people liked, but then some people didn't like them, and I was like, yeah, I'd rather everyone laugh rather than 2 people laugh. So
right.
And the political jokes thing, people think that those are a good idea because a lot of late night people do it, and a lot of famous comedians do it because they have a built-in audience, and everyone's kind of on board or kind of knows what to expect. But with political jokes, half the adult population didn't even vote in 2016 in the presidential election. So if you tell a political joke, half the people in the audience, it will go completely over their head, and then the remaining half that get it, maybe half of them won't even like it because they're so partisan or something like that. So you're potentially only working with 25% of the audience at that point. So that's why I don't do political jokes, because even if it's a good joke, maybe only 25% of the audience will like it.
Right.
I would rather cast a wider net and do more humor. I want everybody to be able to follow the joke.
Has anyone that you know or close to you told you not to use something as a joke? Has anyone said, "Oh, now that you do comedy, hey, don't talk about this"?
No, it's probably like the opposite. Someone will be
Really?
like, "You should use this," and like, "Yeah, we're not going to use this."
What do you think about is comedy to you art?
Oh, definitely.
Okay, so having said that, what about the phrase in art? There's either revolutionaries or plagiarists. There's no in between. Either you're a groundbreaker or you're building on the foundation that other people have set. And where do you see yourself in that?
I would say I'm pretty traditional style stand-up comedy, so I'm not doing anything all that.
But you like
that
small
people haven't really
rooms?
seen.
I mean, you like more of a small setting, 20 to 25 people? Do you want to do like Kane's or like Brady, or do you want to do like BOK someday? I mean, how big are your dreams?
Not very big.
I'll be honest. I'm a nightclub guy. I want 20 to 25. I want at least half that room to be drunk, and I want them to appreciate the fact that I can use dick and fart in more ways that they can.
Mm-hmm. I've thought about that. I think my goal would be to be part of someone who could open up for when people come to town.
Right.
So like when big name people come to the town and they need someone to open up for them, I want to be on that short list of people who they can trust to go up there and do like 15 minutes and do really well. I think that would be a really fun place to be because I mean I have a wife and a daughter. I have a full-time job.
Oh, yeah.
I can't throw my life into this and start going out on the road and spending all my time at various comedy clubs trying to work my way up for very small amount of money. I mean, if I would have gotten into comedy, when I was in my early 20s, late teens, that would be an option. But at my age and stage in life, it's really not realistic.
Right, but young guy, young family. If everybody got on the road and traveled for mics, then there wouldn't be any rooms. Somebody has to stay and put on the show.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and plus you get to create your own opportunities. It's like if you're running a room, you always have a mic.
Yeah, that's one way to look at it.
Which is delightful.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you have your own show on Twitch.
Yeah, that works too.
It works pretty good. Do you have anything that you like to, let's say, geek out on? Are you a movie guy? Are you a comic guy? Are you board or video game guy? Are you all of the above?
I wish I had more time to play video games. I used to play a lot of video games back.
Console?
Oh yeah,
PlayStation or Xbox?
Yeah, we had Xbox.
Okay.
Yeah, we didn't have a PS2.
All right.
So yeah, I mean, high school playing video games, a little bit in college, and a little bit more after college.
Anything ever got its hooks into you?
Oh yeah, the Grand Theft Auto series for sure.
Really?
Oh yeah, that thing. Yeah, those games are very immersive, and I can get a little too into those. The EA Skate series.
That might have been before.
As well.
I was trying to think, and we've had this conversation on the show. What was the one that people got divorced or lost their jobs on before World of Warcraft? And I really can't think of one, but maybe Grand Theft Auto, because that was a series. Maybe people got into that so much that they lost their minds. Did you ever have friends that had those stories?
Losing relationships over video games and stuff?
Yes.
No.
Got into World of Warcraft so much that they just quit paying attention to their wife to the point where the wife served them papers because in the middle of all that they'd also lost their job and not realized it. They just stayed home and kept playing.
I've heard of people, flunking out of college and stuff like that because they got too into video games, and that wasn't very many. I would just hear a story about so and so.
Now they have esports leagues in all the universities.
Yeah, you can. That kind of blows my mind that could exist.
What esports? They actually have an electronics athletics department.
As a program, yeah, it's something that you could get a scholarship for or make money playing video games or something like that.
Mojo and Kiki, Mr. Bizjack, have you ever watched Roast from the 1970s, and any thoughts or favorites?
The old Friars Club roasts? Yeah. I need to watch those. I don't know where are those available. I guess probably online. They're so old. You can probably just watch them for free.
You can do because Dean Martin used to have a weekly.
Oh, okay.
So on NBC, I think. So every week he was bringing on. It was like the Dean Martin roast of Bob Hope or Sinatra, and there was always like a guy like Foster Brooks who would play a drunk that would just come out there and make pun after pun after pun. Mm-hmm. Do you enjoy some of the older slapstick, nightclub, Guys up there in a tuxedo with the tie undone. You know, the lounge lizard look.
I mean, I like Don Rickles, as I think he's one of like the original roasters, and probably one of the best of all time, and
totally
someone who's definitely a legend in comedy. But no, I do need to go back and watch some of those old roasts and kind of see kind of where that whole style of comedy kind of began in a way. Because for me, I started watching the Comedy Central roasts of various people, but that was, those started in kind of the 2000s.
Well, they really took it and ran with it, but I mean, it's basically the same premise as
you bring one person, put him in a chair, and then everybody makes fun of him and stuff like that. But then the roast battle, I think that format started maybe 2010 or so. I don't remember exactly. That's much more recent.
You mean the format. Jeffrey Ross stuff?
Yeah, the stuff in Los Angeles.
That was fun. All it takes is one guy getting naked on television, and they don't take your calls anymore. It's weird. I got to work with Keith and Connor.
Oh, those guys that did the naked one?
Before they were naked, I got to do shows with them. And then they got naked, and they started getting a lot more calls. It was weird. Next thing you know, they're writing for Spade.
Nice.
It's a pro tip for you kids if you want to make it in life. You either got to get in a producer's room who's wearing a dirty robe, or you got to get naked on a roast battle. Movies. Do you? Are you a wait in line guy? Are you I buy into the hype, I got to see it the opening day guy?
No. About once every other year, a movie will come out that I'm interested in seeing in the theater.
Last one?
The last movie I saw in theater was mid-90s. The movie's called mid-90s.
Okay.
The last time I went to the theater was mid-90s. Yeah.
97, I think.
Yeah, the movie was called mid-90s. It was about skateboarding. I'm really into skateboarding, and so I could relate to it.
Right. How far back? Because you're younger than me, so Steve Caballero?
Oh, yeah, I know who he is.
Or Burnquist. Were you a big Burnquist guy?
I still am a big Burnquist guy. He's still good.
He's the king of switch. Nobody does switch better than Burnquist.
Not on ramps, but in the street.
Well, yeah, park, but I mean, it almost, I can feel my leg breaking watching him. Sometimes is there anything now that you're a father that you've kind of reserved, like a special something you're like, I can't wait till I have kids, I'm going to share this with them? Do you have that? And now that you have children, have you already planned on an appropriate time to be that, to share that special Christmas tradition, or something?
I just look forward to doing sports and activities and stuff like that with my daughter. I mean, I took her skiing for the first time about a month ago. We went up to this little place north of Kansas City. Yeah. It's this all fake snow. A lot of people don't even know it exists.
Indoor?
It's outdoor. Yeah, it's outdoor.
Oh.
It's north of Kansas City in the hills, and they make fake snow there, and it's a good place to go just for a little kid to learn.
Like bunny slopes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they do have some steeper stuff, but it's perfect for a little kid that doesn't need to go to a gigantic mountain in Colorado.
How old?
She's 4.5.
4.5.
So she got to get on skis, and she really enjoyed it.
Of course, life is different, but I mean, is there anything that's markedly different now that you're it'll never be the same?
Well,
like your love of self.
Yeah, I mean, I've always got to be thinking about what she's up to, and
right.
Am I doing the right thing for the family, stuff like that. So,
were you raised in a home where you have lots of good examples of?
Oh yeah, I'm really fortunate to come from a good family with a lot of good role models.
Nice. Mm-hmm. Is there anything food wise? I know that's going to come around to that. I'm just trying to soften the blow. Holidays, is there anything special that you're I can't wait till you're old enough to appreciate this? We have it every year at the holidays. This is going to be your new favorite friend.
My family is really good with desserts, especially pies at the holidays.
Keep going.
So those, pumpkin pie, pecan, sweet potato.
Sweet potato?
Yeah, my aunt makes really good sweet potato pie. And my mom makes really good lemon chess pie. That's pretty fantastic.
Did you ever compete in skateboarding? Did you go to all the skate parks around here? Well, he just came back in 2017.
Well, yeah, I came back in 2017, but I've been on all the skate parks. Yeah.
When did you leave?
2003.
Oh, okay, so it was already there.
Yeah. So my skateboarding competition story was I was in a competition back in 2001. It was called This Ain't the X Games, and it was held out at this church parking lot where they would put ramps in, but not the one downtown. It was at a different church out at like 101st and Yale or Sheridan. So, and I did this, and I got 3rd place. But the guy who got 1st place, his name is Peter Ramondetta, and he became a pro and moved to California, and he like had a real career in professional skateboarding. So my highlight of my skateboarding career was coming in top 3, but I got beat by a guy who went pro. So it was like I was in a competition with a guy who eventually went pro, had his name on a board, a shoe, and still is a professional skateboarder.
It's like those kids that went to Jinx.
Oh yeah, they played against Kobe.
Yeah, they were the last team to give Kobe a loss.
Yeah,
but
it's kind of like that.
It's awesome, dude. What do you do now? He's like, I wash cars on a car lot. It's like,
that was my glory. And I was in a video, a little clip. I got a little clip in a video once.
Oh, nice.
That was fun. And then, I've been to all the skate parks in like.
Did you were you like brand loyal? Did you find something that you liked, or did you like to experiment a lot? Because I was like, it was always Spitfire Squealers, it was always Red Chinas, it was always Royals, it was always like a chocolate deck. I mean, I was when I found something I liked, I stuck with it. Did you experiment a lot?
Yeah, I would just buy whatever.
Really?
Just look for what's on sale. Although I wrote a lot of Powell Mini logo decks back in high school, but then I kind of got out of that, and I was riding a lot of Knoll decks for a while because I knew the owner.
Oh, okay.
And had a little clip in their video and skated with them when they would come out from Colorado. So I was buying decks from them for a while.
The market used to be so good. We used to
Well,
nice
it's Quickie Mart now.
Right, but I mean, it used to be right there. Like, we would go just to the promenade, everything was right there, and you would just go to the indoor parking lot right in the back and try everything out. It was great. Is skiing and skateboarding alike?
Snowboarding and skateboarding is quite alike. Skiing is more like inline skating.
Right.
I grew up playing roller hockey and then ice hockey, and I learned inline skating, so I was able to learn how to ski really easily from that background, and then later I started skateboarding, and then snowboarding came pretty easily after that.
What is your balance like now? As you grow older, does your balance change or stay the same, and does he know Michael Ing?
I'm not familiar with Michael Ing. I'm 35 years old, and my balance is the same, but I am... Yeah, I mean, I'm not interested in jumping down big stuff anymore. That seems too risky.
Takes a lot longer to heal.
Yeah, exactly. Like I'm less. I guess I don't have that, that desire to just go wild in the street like I used to.
There's a certain point. I think it's when you turn 36 that your bones aren't rubber anymore and they actually break.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, what I'm trying to avoid this point is like sometimes you hear older guys talk about like a life-changing I can't skateboard anymore injury. So that's what I'm trying to avoid.
I had that happen in 2000. I fell 3 stories.
You fell 3 stories?
Yeah, and broke this arm the first time, and then 10 years later, I only fell off the top of a 10-foot ladder, and I broke both arms, and my wife had to wipe my butt for like a month and give me baths, and it was... Yeah.
How'd you fall 3 stories?
By accident.
Oh, I'm glad. That wasn't intentional.
No deliberate at all.
Were you on a roof?
Yes.
Oh.
I'm a coppersmith by trade.
Oh, okay.
So sometimes copper goes up on high places.
Sorry to hear that. That's...
It's fine, but there was a difference between when it happened when I was 29 and when it happened when I was 39. It was about a month longer in the healing process, rehabilitation. That's the 3rd time I've learned how to play guitar now. And after the second time breaking it was a lot tougher. You just don't, I mean, the pace is different. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, and then somebody's like, hey, man, I got a deck. Me and you used to go down to the metal ramps over there at McClure before they moved to West Tulsa. Let's go hit that stuff. And you're like, nope. Yeah, PE, nope. I'm not going. Michael Ing was a guy who had a store over on Brookside called Thing One back in the 90s.
Oh,
his skate shop.
And
I went to high school with him.
Okay.
And he was a DJ at Icon.
Okay.
He was the DJ Thing. Mm-hmm. DJ One.
I got my first board at Venables on Harvard. So I would go there and market, and then fast forward at Woodland Hills, I would get stuff from there.
Did you ever skate the ramps when they were set up at McClure?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I did. I know what you're talking about. That didn't last very long though, and then
No.
they just moved the ramps over across the river, and they're rotting over there as we speak still.
Didn't they put in something at Gathering Place? Is there a park? Like a full park there? Or is it just like
no, it's real. It's very good. So, yeah, they did a really nice job with the Gathering Place concrete skate park stuff.
As a father, how do you like what Tulsa looks like for your kid?
Oh yeah, it's much better than it was when I was in high school. When I was in high school, like downtown was rotting. I would go to shows at Kane's Ballroom, and that area down there was like very intimidating.
Yeah,
you didn't really want to be down there.
Kaz was open.
Yeah, there were a couple bars. That Mexicali was there, and so
Snooty Fox.
Yeah, so
was still down there.
Yeah, so downtown was completely different. I mean, the Gathering Place obviously didn't exist when I was a kid.
Do you like the fact that there's more to do now for you and your daughter than like 15 years ago, when about the only thing that you could do was take someone to retail? People were hanging out at the mall. So it was all it was all very consumer-based kind of stuff.
Yeah, I'd say Tulsa is definitely a better place than it was in the early 2000s, late 90s, for sure.
Would you recommend it?
I would recommend it to people if you either have family or a good job here. But if you don't have either of those things, you probably aren't going to like it. I like it because I have a lot of friends and family and a good job, so it makes total sense for me to live here. But for someone who does not have those things to come here and try and find a job, like the economy in Tulsa is average. It's definitely not above average.
It's not competitive. Like if you go to a market that has like say 2 or 3 pro teams, like say Dallas, and they have very much a mentality there that if your neighbor has a 72-inch television and a Mercedes E-Class in the driveway, then you need one as well. Mm-hmm. It's a very competitive environment. Where in Tulsa, more it's you find your neighbor has an E-Class Mercedes, and you go try to find how you can get one cheaper than he did. It's a different kind of economy, and the consumerism here is different. So you really have to appeal to people's. It's really hard to have like a luxury kind of line here, because it's very practical. A lot of practical money being spent. But I'm glad people are spending more money on entertainment. I mean, obviously, Insult Attack is growing. Mm-hmm. The comedy scene's growing. I mean, we have more open mics now than we've had in probably 2 or 3 years. Used to, you could get out and hit a place 4 times a week, and now it's getting back to that with Fur Shop and Reds. And are you guys going to do an open mic at Renaissance if demand is there?
They already have one, but I think it's more kind of music based. But I think you could go there and do comedy if you wanted to. That was kind of how Insult Attack began.
Right.
Was I went there in December of 2018 to go to their open mic, and there was practically nobody there for the open mic. So I just said, hey, maybe we could do like an insult style show instead of the open mic next time. And they were cool with that. And so we did that the first Thursday in January of 2019. And that's how Insult Attack began. Was me going to their open mic. The open mic was dead. And I'm like, hey, let's try something different. They were cool with it.
Do you set goals for yourself at all?
I do and don't.
Do you for comedy?
There are things that I would like to do.
Okay.
And yeah, so there are things I do have, like things I would like to achieve within comedy within certain times frames. Mm-hmm. But I'm not too tough on myself. They're not too lofty, and they're not.
Have you done a festival yet?
Yeah, I did Blue Whale last summer. That was a really fun time. That was that was one of the goals.
Is that something that you're really, because there's a lot of festivals signing up right now? Are you submitting?
I wish I could. I wish I could go to a lot of festivals, because I mean, Blue Whale was
around the area.
Yeah, I just don't really have the time with the family obligations and whatnot. Unfortunately, this festivals. I mean, it's like multi-days over a weekend. Yeah. It's a big commitment to do a festival.
Don't want to take the little one on the road yet?
No, taking a young child to a comedy festival is not. They're not really family-friendly environments at all.
No,
at all.
Is there any joke that you do that you wouldn't do in front of your daughter?
Oh, there. Well, so yeah, sometimes before I go do an open mic and do new material, my wife and my daughter will be like, "Hey, do some of your jokes, practice them," and I'll have to be like, "I'll do that." I'll try and like change words. There'll be some jokes that I can do without changing anything. There'll be some I have to change words, and there's some jokes that just completely cannot be spoken at all. But that's just comedy.
Do you have fun?
Oh yeah, I wouldn't do it if I didn't have fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's. I mean, the whole. I mean, I'm not making any
So
money
you're
at
not
this, so
right, but
it's
I
purely
mean,
for fun.
like most people try to box themselves. I'm a clean comic, or I'm an edgy comic, or I'm a late night comic, or whatever. But I mean, if you just get up there and have fun, and the crowd is having fun with you, I mean, so I'm not. I do an edgy joke or two. I'm not an edgy comic, you know.
Yeah, I'm still too early in the process to be able to, start pigeonholing myself into anything. I just got to go up there and just see what works and just kind of run with it.
Is there any professional that still will get you to squirt milk out your nose, kind of? Is there anybody that still catches you off guard with just how funny they write, and when they put their words together, you're like, I mean, is there?
There are so many talented comedians that I can't really pinpoint.
Is there anybody
one.
local?
Oh,
no,
local?
No. Let's get personal. I don't care.
Yeah, there are lots of good local people.
Not good.
Well,
is there like that one guy? You can name drop. It's fine.
Yeah, I mean, I've thought about this. Like, I mean, there are people who are really good. I think maybe the best person could be Shauna Blake in the Tulsa area.
Yes.
I think she might be the best.
Shauna will catch you off guard. TJ gets you and doesn't let go of you.
TJ Clark. Yeah, he's definitely one of the best.
I was at his graduation show at the Comedy Parlor.
Oh, okay.
Because I graduated the class before him. We both had Peter Bedgood as a teacher. And I was at his graduation show, and it was 10 minutes of me not being able to breathe. It was so good. And you're like, that guy's gonna make it.
Yeah,
under your breath.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's definitely one of the.
Is there anybody that you would like to bestow accolades on that maybe over the past 14 months has been like, this person has really achieved a measure of success in the insult attack roast battle world?
Oh, insult. Yeah, I was thinking about this. Yeah, I could read off the people who have 5 victories, because that's pretty significant. To have 5 victories, you got to at least do it 3 times because you only get 2 battles each time. So people who have won at least 5 times, we got Sean Singleton, TJ Clark, Zach Amon, Lindsay Marie.
Lindsay Marie's won 5 times?
She's won 7 times.
Oh my.
Yep. Yeah.
Brutal.
Yeah, she's definitely brutal.
No,
Yeah.
the stream is not sponsored by Yeti. It just happens to be there. But if you happen to know someone at Yeti, we would like to speak with them.
Yeah, other winners, we got Bradley McPherson. He's won more than 5.
Yeah, he's one of. There's a ton of people that haven't been on the show yet that were just kind of like, oh wow.
Jenny Booth, she just won her 5th yesterday as well. So we do have people who've won quite a few.
Is there anything that you would like to say, promote, or ways that people can get a hold of you if they would like maybe comedy at their location? Or is there, or are you just pretty much doing this as a favor to the folks at Renaissance? Are you wanting to promote
shows? Or I mean, I'm going to be part of a comedy show at Renaissance. Evan Hughes is putting it together with a couple people who are coming in from out of town or passing through Tulsa.
Okay.
That one's going to be March 22nd. I think it's a Sunday. That show's coming up at Renaissance. That's the next show.
Is there an event that we can link?
Yeah, probably.
We'll put it in the description of the video for sure, so you guys can get a hold of it. I really just have. We love Yeti. I know someone from Yeti, they're abominable. Well, I mean, I'm not trying to get personal with them. I just want their money. Let's be real. Yeti, the brand you can trust, right? Yeah. Just want to wrap up with one question, and this is going to seem like a really crap thing to end on.
All right.
Because it's not an easy question at all. Because you're a young man, 35 years in the bag, you've got some accomplishments in a lot of different areas in your life. So far, to this day, what would be the name of your autobiography?
The name of an autobiography would be called
What would your life story be called?
Probably like Brian Bizjack, doing stuff.
Doing stuff.
It would just be a collection of stories about me doing stuff, I guess. Adventures and stuff. Yeah, Brian Bizjack, adventures and stuff, and to be some stories about just weird hijinks and adventures I've been on.
Just a bunch of ambiguous, vague
Yeah, it'd be chronological order, just, weird stuff that happened. I mean, that's kind of how stand-up kind of works. You can just kind of start working your way through weird stories as your life has progressed. And I think that's kind of what the audience really wants to hear is just, your unique perspective and unique things that have happened to you that are funny or that you can make funny for the audience.
If you don't call your first album My Life and Stuff, I'm going to be so mad. So good. Ladies and gentlemen, Brian Bizjack, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me on.
We're going to close this, and then we're going to strike the set and get ready for Peter Bedgood, who should be here. Let's see, if we start the show at 8, that means he'll be here at 9:30. So we'll just prepare for that. You guys stay put, and we'll come right back.